So I'm not. Oh, share screen. Yes. Let me see. This meeting is being okay. Correct. And one participant. Oh, I don't share screen. Oh, there we go. Let's see if let me move this one over here. And if I share this, can you see my screen?
Yes, I see your screen. Everything is perfect. Yeah, now actually we are, Facebook is also just connected. So,
okay.
Yeah, what time is going to be?
Then I don't know how to stop sharing.
Oh, okay.
That's okay.
No. Actually, you have already stopped. You have already stopped.
Okay.
We don't see your. How many screens do you have? One screen, right?
Two. I have two screens, so I'm sharing only one. So, but what am I doing here? Okay, gallery. Maybe that's what I need. Because I don't see my screen on the meeting, but anyways, as long as you can see my screen, that's what matters. So.
Okay, got it. So I will tell you when I see your screen. So if you don't mind, I would like to start because it's time, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, let me also share my screen. Okay.
Perfect.
Yes. Just a minute. Yeah, I hope now you see my screen and you hear me. So welcome,
yes, I do.
Everybody, to Baku Power BI, Excel, and Innovative Educators Meetup Groups 14th session in 2022. So I would like to go on with the agenda. After the introduction part of this session, I will give a little information about our sponsors called Enterprise DNA. And also we will define our winners based on the list of attendees for the previous session. And also today's speaker, lovely Alejandra Horvath, will be delivering her speech on the topic connecting reports in Excel. And at the end of this webinar, we'll have Q&A session. Baku Power BI, Excel, and Innovative Educators Meetup Group has roughly 1,300 people, 50% of which those are coming from Azerbaijan. The other 50% is coming from the different parts of the globe. And these Baku Power BI Meetup Group sessions are sponsored by Enterprise DNA. Enterprise DNA till September was providing 3 winners with the full membership, but as of September, Enterprise DNA will be supporting 2 winners with full membership. Enterprise DNA is an Australian educational platform for those who want to be a Power BI master, but also users can get the necessary information, can learn more about our language, Python, Excel, SharePoint, and also other Power Platform products, including Power Apps and also Power Automate. So as for today's speaker, we are hosting Alejandra Horvath. Just a minute, I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. I hope now it's okay. Sorry. Okay. As for today's speaker, we are hosting Alejandra Horvath from Canada, and she's going to talk about connecting reports in Excel. I hope in next minutes she will be giving the necessary information about the topic. And as for next speakers, in October 2022, we are going to host Shabnam Watson from Canada and also Anna Matveeva from Australia. So our session is recorded and live streaming on Facebook, so-called Excel World Facebook page. And also the recorded version of this session will be available on my YouTube channels for the Ilgaz Arbaliev, Excel World. You can also watch the previous recorded versions of our webinars. And in next 1 or 2 minutes, I'm just going to define our winners. But I would like to say you that we are going to meet on October 14th. And I strongly believe that I will be welcoming you on October 14th. But now I would like to switch to my Excel file where I will define my just winners. So let's do it. I'm just going to stop sharing and then just a minute. Again, I'm just going to share. Yes. So this is the list of attendees for previous session. And I'm just going to select 2 people who attended our session more than 58 minutes. So, sorry, this is the 47 minutes. And the number of people is roughly 30. This is the number of people, participants who attended previous session more than 47 minutes. So here, the unique number of, is 29, sorry. And here I have my Excel formulas like index and rank between. So I'm just going to press on F9 and I will count back from 3 to 1. And thus I will define 2 of my winners. So let's get started. 3, 2, 1. So these are the people, Nisu and also D. Brown, who are the winners for 1 year full membership of Enterprise Danish. So I'm just stopping sharing. I stopped sharing my sharing and hello. Yes.
Ilgar, I cannot hear you anymore.
Yes, I think I have problem. Do you hear me now?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you now.
But I don't see my screen. Something is wrong. So if you don't mind, you can start sharing and go on.
Yes, let me share screen.
Yeah, please start, go on, because I don't see.
Okay, now I can see you. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Now I see. Yeah, go on, please. Sorry.
Excellent. Oh, this is a little bit ahead. Oh, I start with the thank yous from what I can see. So let me just open this again. And for some reason, okay, let's start sharing this. Let me just switch this quickly. Let me hide this. Excellent. And from here, let me start here. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. It's a pleasure and an honor to be presenting to Baku's audience. Thank you so much. Today, I'm going to present, my topic is connecting reports in Excel, the importance of building a reliable source of information or data with Power Query. I'm an accountant, so really for me having just one source of data has been a game changer. So I want to share with you some of those tips and tricks that I have found through the way and why I find it so useful. So as Ilgar said, my name is Alejandra Horvath. A little bit about me, I live in Canada, I'm a CPA. I'm a certified Excel expert. I have been working with Excel for over 20 years. I'm currently working as a budget analyst, and I'm also a YouTuber. So I have a YouTube channel in English and one in Spanish. I present live sessions every week, Saturdays in English and Tuesdays in Spanish. So you want to practice your Spanish, you are very welcome to join me. So I live with my cat Gasparin, the white, and the tabby is Oli, and also I live with my dog Maya. Best co-workers ever. So what we're going to see today. Today we're going to see what a brief explanation what Power Query is. Also, what a function in Power Query is and why we will build one in our example today. What is the benefit or the benefits of connecting several reports to only one source of data and reliable source of data, right? And I'm going to have a demo with one example, how I connect those reports and how easy and fast updating all those reports at once is. And as Ilgar said, there will be a time for questions and answers. So let's start with Power Query. What Power Query is? For me, Power Query is magic. So it's really, it can save you a lot of time for those repetitive, boring tasks. It can transform your data, transform your data, and give you that time to really analyze the numbers that data are telling you, right? So Power Query is data transformation and data preparation engine. With this, you can perform extraction, transformation, and loading processing of data. This is, I'm going to get my data from a source. This could be, in our example, will be Excel, but there are many sources that you can extract information from. You will extract that information, you will transform, you will cut, you will delete columns, you will add columns, you will organize, you will find a way to make your data clean, ready to load to your system or to your final software or final product where you're going to use it. In our case, will be Excel. It will be an Excel spreadsheet. So we will load that information there, and then you can work with that information that is clean and ready to go and ready to work with. So Power Query uses the language M. That M stands for mashup, but the official name is Power Query Formula Language, right? So, but we all know that M is the language that Power Query uses, right? So this language needs this parentheses, this equal and this greater than. So the equal and greater than is the goes to symbol. Power Query needs this to understand that this refers to a function, and function is a value that represents a mapping from a set of argument values to a single values. In other words, a function is going to give us a value based on the information that we provide to that function. That information will be provided through parameters. The parameters will be provided inside of these parentheses. Those parameters can be text, number, list, table, you name it. But we need to tell Power Query what we want to get from that function, right? A custom function will be a function that will be prepared or built based in our own needs, in our own process. So why do we want to build a function ourselves? Why, if Power Query creates the code for us, Power Query creates all the functions for us, every time that we apply a step to our process, Power Query automatically start preparing that code behind scenes for us. But once we have our process finalized, and let's say I want to apply the same process to all my files in my folder, and let's say I have 15 files, then I don't want to go and apply the same process over and over to each single file. So what I do, I create a function, and that function will be invoked, or it will be applied to every single file, and everything can be processed at once in no time, and it will do the work for me, and I can get just the final result. That's why you will see that this is kind of magic. Okay. So what we are going to see during the demo, we are going to be building the query that will transform my files. These files are not identical files. They start in different lines. They have different number of sheets and different name of sheets. So I need to find a way to combine all that information, get them clean, and then I can transfer that information to my Excel spreadsheet so I can work with my pivot tables. So we're going to be creating a couple of reports in Excel using that single source of data. We will be adding new information to our source, to our folder, and then you will see that in seconds, we are going to be updating all of our reports with the new information. And let's start with the presentation, with the demo. So this is the final product that I want to get at the end. Let me start by showing you the content of those files. My files are on my desktop on a folder that is called Demo 2022 September 30B, and the folder is called Sales. This folder has 3 files. I'm going to open these files, I select them, and I'm going to press Enter. Here you will notice that Zone 1 has 3 sheets. I don't know if you can see it here, but I have 3 sheets at the bottom. At the bottom of the spreadsheet, you can see there are 3 tabs. Store 1 has just the title of the report, Store 1 Sales, and then it has the titles of the columns. Store 2, wait, let me go here. Store 2, it starts in column B, and it has 3 empty lines before the title of the columns. And Store 3, same thing. Well, now this starts in column C, and it has only 1 line between the title and the title of the columns. So the items on each table or in each list here, in this case, I have 17 items only. The other lists have 20 items each. So 20 here and another 20 items here. I have the sales for the years of 2017, 18, 19, 20, and 2021. So I'm going to close this. Now here we have Zone 2. Zone 2 has only 1 sheet, and it has columns for 2017 and 18, and it doesn't have information for 2019 because the store was closed. So same thing now, Zone 3. Zone 3 is newer, so it was open in 2019, and it has only 3 years of sales. It has 2 stores, Store 5 and Store 6. And Store 5 started operating in 2018. So it is really an inconsistent layout on this report. So what we're going to do, we're going to find a way to clean up all those files, bring that information together, and then I'm going to have 2 reports. One report will bring me the information for my accounting department. Let's say I want to bring the information for the taxes, I want to bring the information with the sales, and I want to calculate the taxes based on the zones. Zone 1 has a tax of 5%, Zone 2 has a tax of 12%, and Zone 3 has a tax of 13%. See, right? So I need to find a way to combine all that information, identify those zones, and grab the sales and calculate the taxes based on those zones. So this is one of the reports that we're going to build. And the other report is more for operations. Operations needs to know how much they are selling per zones per year, also by stores, also by items every year, what the sales are by each item. They need to know how much they sell again for by zone, and then we have the years here, the total sales for every year. And here we have another way to present this information to operations per zone, per year. And then they will need to have some kind of graphs. I prepared these very basic graphs just to make it visible or more visual, just to see, okay, if I update my information, all of these graphs are going to update as well. Okay, so let me just check here, because I see that Christian has some comment, one comment that is very, very good to mention right now. Results can be also. So Christian is saying that besides parameters of any type, scalar values or structure values, result of a function can be also anything. That's right. Thank you so much, Christian. Scalar or structure values, text, dates, numbers, lists, records, or tables, right? So thank you so much, Christian. I appreciate that. Thank you. Awesome. So this is what we're going to build today. And well, let's get started. So I'm going to start by opening a blank workbook. Here, I'm using Microsoft 365. I'm going to go to data, get data from file, from workbook. I'm going to use any of the files, because what I want to create is a process. And then from the process, I'm going to apply that process to all the files on this folder. So I'm going to select someone, double click there. Here, the navigator is going to show me the content of my file, that it has 3 tabs, store 1, store 2, and store 3. And kind of I like this store 2 because it has more nulls between the title of the report and the title of my columns. So I'm going to start with that one, and I'm going to say transform data. The Power Query editor will open, and here we will have the content of that table. Control-C+ to make it a little bit bigger, and I'm going to rename my query, and I'm going to say this is going to be my sample life. I say enter, and you can see here on the right, and I'm going to just hide this part so we can have a little bit more room on the screen. And you can see here on the right that Power Query created some steps for me that I don't need right now. I don't want to have the change type just yet. I'm not at the point that I can do that. And also, I don't want that because all of this is hard-coded. Power Query has identified the columns, which is incorrect. And also is hard-coded, and not all my files will have these titles for the columns, right? So if I just leave it as is. So I'm going to delete this step. Also, Power Query promoted the headers, which is not correct because I'm not ready for that step either. It moved my store 2 as the title of this column, and that is just the title of the report. So I'm going to remove that step as well. I need to find a way later on to keep the name of the store in my file, as part of my file. And we can do this in several ways. That is another beauty of Power Query, that we can do a lot of things in a different ways. It's just like in Excel. We can do so much and the same thing using different techniques. And that is what Power Query is fantastic. And it gives the opportunity to create and develop new solutions for all of those problems, or all of those processes that we want to automate. So in this case, for now, I'm going to leave it alone because we will take care of this later on. So right now, what I want to do is I want to find a way to dynamically remove the empty lines and the title of the report and keep only the lines that start with item, right? So I can create an index column and identify this line for the titles, or I can do, I'm going to create another step here where it says FX. If you don't have the formula bar visible, you go to view and make sure that you have this check mark beside what it says formula bar. So here on the formula bar, I'm going to click at FX to add a step. I can also go to my last step, right click and select insert step after. So since I'm there, I just click there. And here, this equal store to sheet refers to the previous step. Here, Power Query renames this step as navigation. And even if you try to, and it's navigating to my sheet store 2, but even if you try to rename it, let's say, I'm going to say, I'm trying to press F2. It doesn't allow me. I try to rename and it's all grayed out. But I know that the name of this step is not navigation. The name of this step is store 2. And I can go here to view advanced editor, and I can see that in here. This is the real name of the navigation step, right? That's why when I insert a new step, I can see that it's referring to the previous step, which is store 2, no navigation. I can change that here, and I can see my sheet, or let's say, yeah, my sheet. Okay, and now I need to refer to that step here. So Power Query is working towards the previous step in this case. So I'm going to say now if I rename my previous step, I also need to rename it here, and I'm saying done. And now here it works, but it keeps navigation. If you want to change this navigation step, then you can apply a step here. So let's say if I want to remove the lines in here in the formula bar, I'm going to say equals table skip. What is that here? And I want to skip or remove anything that is in column 1. Table skip, and it says, remember if it's H, and I'm going to say process the following, or column 1. In column 1, anything that is not equal to item, close parentheses, and let's see if it works. And it works, right? So it removed everything that is above item. Once the formula finds the word item, it stops and doesn't skip rows anymore, okay? So now that I apply a formula here within the step navigation, now you can see that I can see the name, my sheet that I provided in the advanced editor, okay? In my case, I cannot leave it like this because I want that my next step is the start, because I want my function to start from that point forward. So I'm going to delete this, but I wanted to show you how you can rename your navigation step. There is a way, right, to do that. So I'm going to go to my next step. That is the one that I created here from my formula bar, or from just right-clicking at navigation and insert a new step. And from there, I'm going to say just what I did, table skip, and then this is looking for a table. The table is coming from my previous step. I'm going to say comma, the count of condition. The condition, I'm going to say, please process the following. Process that from column 1, skip everything that is not equal to item. Once you find item, stop. And that's what it's doing, right? Right here we have an item. So now I am ready to promote my first line as headers. So I can go here to this little table on the left, and I can use the first row as headers, or here on the formula bar, I can say equal, and I'm gonna say this is gonna be table, promote headers. Open parentheses, is asking me for a table. The table is the result of my formula table skip, and I close parentheses at the end, and I'm gonna say okay. So I need to rename my step. My step says custom 1. I'm gonna say this is gonna be start, because when I create my function, this is gonna be the starting point. So now that I have this information, I create a very simple, we're going to create a very simple process. The idea is to show you why we're doing this rather than make it too complicated. But what you can do here is, if your process is very complex, you have to remove columns, you need to split columns, add columns, etc., add calculations. So you can do all of that in here, and all that process will be part of your function, because that process will be applied to your other files. So now that I'm here, the only thing that I need to do, I want to organize my data in a tabular form. So I have my column item. I want that column to stay as is. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to unpivot other columns. So by doing this, now I have this as normalized data. And now I have this as a tabular form. So from here, I will be able to create my pivot tables without a problem. And it will be so clean and simple that it will be just fantastic. I just cannot get enough of this. So let me rename my last step, and I'm just gonna keep the unpivoted name. And that is because when I see at the code, it's easier to have short words or have text that doesn't have spaces, because when it has spaces, Power Query adds the hashtag and the quotation marks just to identify that that is a text. So if you keep the name of your steps in only one word, Power Query doesn't need to add that to the name of the step. So I like to keep my code as clean as possible because it's easier to understand in that way. So here where it says in pivoted, I can see that it created a column called attribute and a column called value. And I can see it here. Power Query is creating that code for me. So instead of attribute, if I want to rename the name of the column, I can just double click and rename it here, but Power Query will create an additional step doing that. Or I can go here to my formula bar and change the name myself. So that way will be year. And the value, I want that to be amount instead. Press enter, and now you can see that the titles have changed. Excellent. That is the process that I want my function to apply to my other files as well. So once I finish with my process, I don't change the data type because that doesn't go through the function. It doesn't come when applies the process to my other files. So might as well, I don't even apply I don't even identify the data type. So I'm gonna maximize my queries. And from there, what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna create my function. My function will come from this query. So I strongly recommend that when you are gonna do that, you duplicate your query, right click at the query and duplicate. And this is because we are gonna modify the code. If something goes wrong, and if you are working in your only query where you have your whole process, something was wrong, then there is nothing to go back to. But when you duplicate the query where you have your process, then something goes wrong when you are preparing your function, and you can always go back to your original query and then fix it and go from there, right? So I have duplicated my query, I double click there, and I'm gonna rename this as fx. For me, it's a way to identify that this will be a function, and also it will be a way to identify this query or differentiate this query from my sample live query. So Power Query won't accept to have two queries with the same name, even though I'm gonna convert this query to a function, right? So it has two purposes, but by adding this fx, doesn't convert this to a function. As we saw at the beginning, I need to provide those parentheses that goes to symbol, and I need to provide the parameters so Power Query understand that this is going to be a function. So I'm going to go to the View tab, Advanced Editor, and here, Control-C+ to zoom in. So from here, the first thing that I need to do at the top, I need to provide that, right? So the parentheses and the goes to symbol. Now I need to provide the parameters to my function. So I'm gonna, inside of the parentheses, I'm gonna say my table, because that's what I'm gonna provide to the function, my table or my tables, that's it. And it says my table as table. I want that this information comes to my function as table. I don't want to accept anything else that is not a table. So by doing this, I prevent errors in the future, because if I leave it open, if I don't specify the type of this parameter, then if I leave it open and someone just enter a number, it's gonna give me an error, right? So let's prevent some of those errors earlier, so we don't have to deal with them later on, right? So my tables, I want that as table, and the result of this function, I also want to be as table. So I want my function to start from my start. I don't want that brings any of this information, because I'm going to provide this information to Power Query. So I don't want to keep this as part of my function. I want that my function starts from start. And that is another reason why I like to apply steps as nested as possible, because then the lines that I have in these functions are very minimal. But if you feel more comfortable creating more steps because it's more clear for you or your users, go ahead. In my case, because I am the one who is using these queries, for me, it's fine to keep nesting the functions. So keep that in mind also when you are sharing queries. So it might be worth it to have a little bit more steps, but it's more clear for them that what is being done in each step along the way. Okay, so I'm gonna say done. And oh, something happened. Oh yeah, because I didn't specify the parameter. So I specified the parameter, but I didn't tell Power Query where my parameter needs to be inside of the function. So here, where I had my sheets before, that's where I want to have my tables. So I want that when Power Query finds my tables, I want to skip the first lines until it finds the word item, and I want to promote the headers. And once we have that, I want that Power Query unpivot the other columns, keeping only the column item on the left, and then it creates two other columns with the amount and the year, right? So I'm gonna say done, and now I have my function ready to go. So every single parameter that you have here, if you have more parameters here, you separate them by a comma and then you provide the other parameter, right? In this case, I only have that parameter, and for that reason, I only have one little box here. Let's say per each parameter that you provide here inside of the parentheses, you will have kind of a box for each one. And each parameter will tell you here, for example, in my case, my tables needs to be provided as table, and the result will be as table. Excellent. Now we have our function ready. So I'm going to go here on the left where we have the queries, and in the right side, I'm going to say right click, new query, file, folder. Let's bring all the files that we have in our folder. Here on my desktop, I have a folder, as I said, demo 2022 September 30p. The folder where I have all my files is sales. I cannot see anything there, but I know that my Excel files are there. So I'm going to say open. Here I have the content of those files, Ctrl+G+ to zoom in, and I can see I have zone 1, 2, and 3, and they are Excel files. I'm going to transform data. Here I have that list, and I have more information that at this point I don't need, right? So you will see that I have binary content, which is nothing but the file and the bytes that this file has. I have the name of the file that I want to keep as part of my final table. I have the extension. So very quickly, and good practices, as I said, let's prevent errors as much as possible. So, and also, let's make this as friendly as possible. So if you are going to share this information, I'm going to copy this directory. I recommend that you provide this as an independent parameter. So when you share this information and the files are saved somewhere else, people can just change that information in the parameter. They don't need to go and look inside of the code and try to change it there. So let's do that very quickly. I'm going to go to Home, Manage Parameters, New Parameter, and here my parameter will be my location or my directory, something that speaks to you like that. So the type that I want this is a required parameter. The thing that I want to get there, or the type that I want to get there, is text. I don't want numbers. I want to make sure that I have only text. And right now it says any value. I can provide a list of values or a query. In this case, I'm going to say any value. The current value, I'm going to paste the information that I copied from here, from this path, and I'm going to say OK. Once you have this information here, you can connect this parameter to this hard-coded information. So anytime that the information changes, you can just change the information in my location, and then the query is connected to that. So let's delete that. I'm going to say this is going to be my location right here. And nothing changed here because it's directing to the same folder. But now this is dynamic, and anybody who needs to change this information, this directory, can change it here. So it will change automatically here. So next thing, good practices. I'm just checking the time just to make sure that we're gonna have time to look at everything. Good practices, I'm gonna go to select extension, right click, transform, if I can find it here. Okay, lowercase, uppercase, doesn't matter. I just want to create some consistency in how this text is presented. Power Query is case sensitive, so make sure that you have that consistency. And I want to make sure that I only bring Excel files. If someone by mistake or by my log save files, PDF, TXT, CSV, there can break my query. So I want to make sure that I'm preventing for that. So I'm gonna right click here, XLSX, text filters equal. you can see here that Power Query has created the code for me and is identifying only the files that end in XLSX. So that is one thing. The next thing, I can say a name, right click, actually name, click at this arrow, text filters, and I want to make sure that it's not going to bring any open files. The open files will have that tilde at the beginning of the name. So I'm going to say it does not begin with that tilde. Is the side number 1 on your alphanumeric keyboard. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger. This tilde. Okay. Control-Shift- to zoom out. And I'm going to say OK. So nothing happens here, but if in the future we have an open file, Power Query won't bring that as well, because for Power Query, the tilde at the beginning of the name means that it's a different file, and it will bring that file twice, right? So I want to make sure that I'm not going to bring anything like that. I can even go further and maybe say that the file contains text file, and I say, actually, I could have done that here. Let me just double click at the step, and I have my box for the filter rows, and I'm going to say also that contains zone. And I'm going to intentionally provide zone with all lower cases, even though my files start with capital Z. And I'm going to say, OK, because I did that, then Power Query is, as I said, is case sensitive. It doesn't recognize that my files have that. So this formula text contains, it allows me to provide one more argument. So I'm going to, after the zone, I'm going to say, comma, ignore case, ordinarily ignore case. I'm going to say, oh, if the enter doesn't work, you can click at the check mark. And now it recognizes my files as zone. It can be lowercase, uppercase. It can have lower cases in the middle or at the end, or all lower cases, all upper cases. But because I provided this, now Power Query doesn't matter about the lowercase or uppercase. It doesn't matter, because with this, Power Query is ignoring that. Okay, excellent. Now, my next step, ideally, you should be renaming your steps, every single one at a time. But for time purposes, I just want to keep going right now. But keep in mind that it's much better and it's good practice to rename your steps over and over, like as you go, because it really is very helpful when you look at your code and you need to go back to some of the previous steps. Okay, so now that we have this, I need to find a way to extract the information from this binary data. So we can create a column and extract that, but I don't want to add one more column. What I'm going to do, I'm going to work on the existing column. So I'm going to create a step here on the FX, and I'm going to say that, referring to the previous step, is being in that table. I want to say table, transform columns. I'm going to open parentheses. It's asking me for a table that is coming from the previous step. I'm going to say comma, and it's saying that the transform operations as list. For that reason, for Power Query, the curly brackets mean the list. So it's asking me that I provide that information there. So I'm going to open quotation marks, and I want to transform the column content. Yeah? So I'm saying that transform the column content from the table that is coming from the previous step, comma. And then what do I want to do with that column? Well, I need to provide the keyword each, which is a mini function inside of this function, right? So, and I'm going to say that I want to extract the information from the Excel workbook. So I'm going to provide Excel workbook here, open parentheses. And what I want Power Query to look at is to look at every single line from the column content. So to do that, I'm going to provide the underscore. The underscore is telling Power Query to look at every single line on that column. Now, if my information was ready to promote the first lines as headers, I can easily give a comma here and add the word true. By doing this, Power Query will understand that any of the files that are in that column, and I'm extracting the Excel content, will need that the first line is promoted as headers. In my case, doesn't apply because I need to clean up the first lines first, and then I will be able to promote the header. Okay, for that reason, I cannot provide that. So I just provide the underscore. I'm gonna go to the end of the formula, and I'm gonna close the parentheses. I'm gonna say enter. Now you see that from binary that I had in my previous step, I have binary here. If I go to my last step, it changed as table. And you can see now the content of those files. The zone 1 has store 1, 2, and 3. Table 2, or table for zone 2 has only one sheet, that is store 4. Table for zone 3 has store 5 and 6. Excellent. I need also to extract the information from the zone because I want to add the zone to the content of my tables. So what I'm going to do there, I'm going to extract the information that is before the delimiter, that in this case is the dot. So I'm going to use the same formula that I was using already. And to do that, I'm going to just do some stuff here, Shift Enter to move this to down. So here I am telling Power Query that I want to transform columns from this table that is coming from the previous step. I told Power Query that I want to process transformation in the content column, but now I need to tell Power Query that I want to process a transformation also in the name column. So because I'm now providing more than one column, I need to provide a list of lists. So I need to add one curly bracket, because the first curly bracket is to grab all the lists. The second curly bracket is for the first list, then that list closes. So I'm gonna press comma, and then I'm gonna provide my next list. My next list will contain the transformation that we are gonna process for my column name. Comma, what do I want to do there? I'm gonna say each. Well, I want to extract the information, text before delimiter, text before delimiter, this one. And I want to extract the information that is before the dot. So I'm gonna open parentheses. I want that Power Query looks at every single line of that column. That's why I provide the underscore, comma. And the delimiter needs to go within quotation marks, and then I will provide the dot. I go to the end, and I need to close the curly bracket for the list of lists. And I'm gonna say enter. And now you can see that here we have only zone. What is that here? Let me go here. Here we have only the name of the zone or the name of the file. And here we have the tables with the content in Excel. So these are the only two columns that we need. I'm going to select both, right click, and remove other columns. Now I need to find a way to keep the name of the store. I already have the zone, but now I need to find a way to keep the name of the store. So the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to expand the content column, and I'm going to bring the information for the name of the sheet. And I'm also going to bring the information from the data column, that is the one that has the tables. I'm going to say OK. And now I have the store, I have the zone, and now I have the tables with the content of every single file, right? So now I can apply my function to clean up every single table that I have here and remove those top rows that are empty and that don't equal item, right? So I can start at that process. I can unpivot the tables and get my information ready. So to do that, I'm going to go to add column, invoke custom column, custom function, and it's going to add me for the name of my new column. I'm going to leave it as custom. I'm not going to keep it. And it's asking me for a function. The function, I'm going to click here and I'm going to say fx my sample live. That is the function that we created. And of course, it's asking me for a table because that is what I asked the function to ask for. And my tables are coming from my data column. So I'm going to say, OK. Here we have the information already transformed, already clean, and on pivot, right? So all the columns have been unpivoted. So this is ready to expand. But wait, I need to find a way to add the zone and the store. If I want to expand this column, I click here and let's say I expand all these columns. So it's great because I can keep the name for the zone and the store. I can delete the data column and I can keep all my data. But the problem is that here, the information is hard-coded. And when I'm expanding columns, I don't like to have hard-coded names because for any reason, there is a column that doesn't match with one of these titles, and then I have issues. So when I expand, I don't like to use this technique. I like to expand in a different way. So what I do is I create a new step and I say it will combine here. Open parentheses is asking me for tables at least, and my tables are coming from my column fx my sample life. That is the name really from the function. That's what Power Query did. Close parentheses, enter. And look, in here expands the columns, but it doesn't keep the columns with the name of the store or the name of the zone. So I need to find a way, one step before this, to go and inside of this table, I need to add a column that is going to bring the information for the store and for the zone. So what I do here, we are going to create a new step between the custom to and this invoked custom function. I'm going to say insert. And what I'm going to do there is I'm going to add a column. So here after the equal, I could have also clicked at add column, custom column, instead of creating a new step and just do it manually here, but I like this way to do it. I understand better the functions. So I'm gonna go after the equal, I'm gonna say table, add column. Open parentheses, it's asking me for a table. Where do you want me to add that column? Well, I want you to add that column to this table that is coming from the previous step, comma. What is the name of the new column? This is gonna be, let's say, final, comma. What do you want me to do inside of that column? Well, I want you to bring, so each, I want that inside of this table, you add a column. So process the following. Add a column, table, add column to the tables that are coming from my column fx. I need to provide the square brackets to tell Power Query that I'm referring to a column. So I'm going to say fx my sample life. That is the name of that column. So I want that you add the column to that table, comma. Well, what the name of that column will be inside of that table is going to be zone, two spaces or one space, and I'm going to say store. That's the name of the new column. And comma. Now, what do you want me to process inside of that column? Well, I want you to, let me here say, each. Oh, I cannot provide the each because we are talking in two different environments. So we have a table in here, and I want to bring two columns from another table. So these tables here are kind of independent to this table that I'm seeing here. So I cannot use the each function. For this, I need to provide a function to go inside of the table and then insert that column. And to do that, now we know that I need to provide the parentheses, I need to provide the goes to symbol, and I need to provide a parameter. The parameter can be 1, 2, 3, ABC, whatever it is. Just need to provide a parameter. Once I have the parameter, let's see, I'm going to say, go inside of the table and bring me the information that is in the column name. I want to provide the zone first, so name. Let's go to the end of the table add column, the second one, and then provide another parenthesis to close the first table add column. And let's see what happens. I'm going to press enter. Here on the final column, now I have inside of that table that is coming from fx sample live. Now I have the additional column with the zone. Okay, so I can see that my technique is working, right? So what I'm going to do then is name, and I also want to add, so ampersand, I want to add also a separator between the two names. So I'm going to provide the pipe and another ampersand. And now I want to provide the content of the column name 1. So open square brackets because I'm going to provide information from another column. So name dot 1. And let's see what happens. Enter. I go to final. Click at this white area beside the table, and now you can see the content of that table, right? So now we have zone 1, store 1. This is all that I need. I can expand now the information that is inside of my table. I'm going to select final, right click, remove other columns. And, oh, actually, yes, let's insert the step, and I don't need the last step. I should have removed it. So now that I have this information here, now I am ready to expand, and I can expand by using table combine. So I'm going to add a step here in fx, and I'm going to say after the equal, I'm going to say table combine, open parentheses, which tables do you want to expand, and you need to provide me that as a list. So my way to provide that as a list is by providing the content that is inside of the column final. That's where my tables are coming from, close parentheses. And now I have all the information that I need in my table. I don't have any hard-coded names when I expand those columns. And now the only thing that I need to do, select zone store, right-click, split column, by delimiter, my delimiter. I need to look for the custom because I provided the pipe. And I'm going to say, OK. Now I have one column for the zone, one column for the store. Power Query created a step for me, change type. I don't want that. I'm going to remove that. And here, because it's not recognized properly from what I remember. So here I go back to my step split column by delimiter. If I check here, my first column is called zone store 1, zone store.2. I can double click here and rename the columns here, and Power Query will create another step, or I can change those names here, and I'm going to just remove the last part in this one, and the first part, and the number in the other one. So these are the names of my columns, zone and store. And now I have my information ready to identify the data type. I think, identify the data type. It seems to be correct. The numbers, I want the numbers to be whole numbers. I don't have decimals. So, and the year, I want this as whole numbers as well. And everything else seems to be correct. Excellent. I'm ready to pass this information to Excel. So, Edgardo, do we have any questions, or can I keep going? I don't see anything in the chat.
Yes, everybody is listening very carefully, so you may go on. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so let's pass this to Excel. I'm going to hear from the Power Query editor. I'm going to go to home, and I'm going to say close and load to. And here it's going to ask me what do I want to do with that information. I don't want to bring this as table or pivot table yet because I have 2 queries and 1 function. And if I say table or pivot table report, then it will create a tab under per each query that I have, and I don't want that. So for now, I'm going to only create connection, and I'm going to say OK. And now we have the information that I want on the sales query. Right-click, load to, and I'm going to bring this as pivot table on B2, on cell B2, and I'm going to say OK. And now I can see that I can start creating my pivot tables. The amount always will go here on the values. I can start seeing, okay, I'm going to have store, and I'm going to have, actually, the store I want on the rows, I want on the years on the top of the table. I don't want, in this case, I don't want the grand totals. Right-click where it says grand total and remove grand total. Okay. Select anywhere inside of the pivot table, right-click where the numbers are, right-click and say number format. I'm going to go to number, use 1000 separators, 0 decimal, and I'm going to say OK. I also like to use the design, report layout, show in tabular form, and I'm going to go to view and remove grid lines. Okay, so once I have this, one thing that is very important when you are going to create several pivot tables or charts, etc., is that in the query that you are working on, right-click, select Properties, and make sure that you remove this check mark where it says Enable Background Refresh. And I'm going to say, OK. By doing this, every time that you want to refresh the information that you are bringing from your query, then you will be able to refresh all of them at once. When you don't remove that and you don't connect this to the data model, then you will need to refresh once for the graphs, if I remember correctly, and another time for the pivot tables. So it's very annoying to be refreshing here where it says data refresh all, being refreshing several times, because I'm always concerned if I refresh enough times. I don't want to miss any of the new information. So for that reason, I strongly recommend that you right-click here, where I said on your query, properties, and make sure that you don't have the checkmark on enable background refresh. So now that I have my first pivot table, I can Control-C and Control-V over here. Don't do this at home. Create a pivot table per tab, or create each single pivot table in one tab, because you give the opportunity to expand that pivot table. For the purposes of this presentation, of course, I need to present everything in one place. It's easier for me to explain. But when you are preparing your own, don't do this. OK, don't learn that from me. OK, so in here, I can just modify this pivot table. And now I can say I want, instead of the store, I want the zone. I have only 3 zones. And let's say, let's copy this. Now, I don't have total sales. Let's see here. And let's just remove everything. I just want the total sales per year, let's say here. And what else can I do? Let's bring now zone, and I have the zone like that. I want to bring the year here and the zone over here. And I need to give actually a little bit more space. Okay. And let's bring one pivot table for all the items. Let's say these reports are for operations. They want to see how every store is performing, which zones are more profitable, have more sales, which products are selling the most, or things like that. And let's say here, I'm going to just move the items in here so they can see every year how the sales behave, and you can create even charts, etc. So this is one report. Let's go quickly to create the second report, and that's going to be very fast. So once you have the whole process figured out, your data clean, there is no point to create other reports and start the whole process again, because you have other purposes for other reports when the information can be grabbed from the same source. So once you complete your process, my query is clean and ready to go. So I'm going to right-click, I'm going to copy, and you can even create the other reports in the same file. But most of the cases, I need to create a new file for other purposes, right? So I'm going to go here, I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to go to Data, Queries and Connections. And right here, I'm going to right-click and I'm going to paste. By doing this, my query has been already copied to this file. So I don't want to bring the pivot table here yet. So I'm going to just delete this tab. I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to say yes. And now you can see that my query is here as connection only. That's what I want. So I'm going to double click on my query. The whole process is already applied here. I don't need to do anything else. The only thing is, these reports will be for accounting purposes. I want to provide, or I have a request, let's say, from the auditors that I need to provide the sales and the taxes that I should have been paying every year based on the zone, right? So zone 1 has a 5%. Let's say where I live, the province where I live, we pay 5% for GST, or goods and services tax. But there is another province, BC, who pays 12%. And then there is another province, Ontario, that pays 13%. So that's why I need 3 zones. In this case, I'm going to add a column. I'm going to add a conditional column to my finalized data. And I'm going to say if zone, here is one that I have here, if zone equals zone 1, make sure that you spell this exactly the same way that your text is inside of the column. So I'm going to say here 0.05 because unfortunately I cannot provide the calculation here, but I'm going to just have this as placeholder and I can modify the code later on. So I'm going to add another clause and I'm going to say zone equals, now it's going to be zone 2. And the zone 2 is 12%, so 0.12. And anything else, which would be zone 3, will be 13%, 0.13. And I'm going to say, OK. Now, Power Query only assign the 0.05, 0.12, and 0.13. So let me move this down, Shift Enter. And here, just to organize this a little bit, and the ifs, to separate the ifs and else in here. Okay, if zone 1, then multiply the information that I have on the amount or the sales, and I'm going to say amount times 5%. If it's zone 2, Control C, then multiply by 12. Anything else, multiply by 13%. Okay. So, yes, thank you, Christian. Christian is mentioning that Power Query is case sensitive. So we need to pay attention on this. Yes, thank you so much, Christian. Because if I don't provide the name of this text, or if I provide the text wrong, right? It doesn't say, let's say, if I say zone with capital, those two capitals, Power Query won't understand, won't find this. This is a different word for Power Query than this, okay? Excellent. Thank you, Christian, very appreciated. Okay. Oh, thank you. And also, I was forgetting that, thank you so much. Power Query is zero-based. So Power Query always starts counting this first line as 0. The second line is counting as 1. So you need to be very careful with that when you are referencing to a specific line. So thank you so much for the tips. I was totally forgetting about that. Thank you, Christian. Okay, now that we have our calculations here all well identified, let's press enter. And now you will see that the final column has the calculation based on these percentages and based on those zones. Excellent. Now I can bring this information to Excel and prepare the report that I need to give to the auditors, let's say, because they want to compare the taxes. So I'm going to go to Home, close and load again, because this is connected or is transferred as connection only. I'm going to go to Sales, right click, Load to, and I'm going to create a pivot table, and I'm going to create it in B2, and I'm going to say, okay. So once I'm there, let's say I want to provide information per year, per zone, because that is the key here, per zone, and how much tax I paid. Oh, I didn't rename my column, so I left custom column. Let me go quickly to my query, double click there, and this custom column is called custom, of course, right here. And here is where Power Query assigned that name. Let's call this tax. And another thing that I realized now that the data type was not identified. So I'm going to select that column, Control A, select that column, Control A to select the whole table, go to transform, detect data type. Excellent. Now that I have that information ready, I'm going to go back to Excel, Home, close and load again. And now here on my pivot table fields, I have now the option that it says tax instead of custom. So the tax will go to the values. So with this, I can show the auditors how much tax we should have paid, right, for this, these sales. So I'm going to go right click, number, 1000 separators, no decimals, enter. So same thing, go to your query, right click, properties, remove this check mark on enable background refresh. Excellent. So every time that we will add new information to the source, we can just go to data, refresh all once, and everything should update automatically once I press that. So let's copy this and let's go back here. And now I want to present not only the tax, but I want to present the sales, which is the amount, and the tax. So now I have per year the amount for the I'm gonna call this sales, and this is gonna be just tax. And it's not going to allow me to provide those tags because it recognizes that there is a field already called tax, which is this column. So I can just say, okay, I'm just going to provide an space, and that will be good enough for Excel to recognize that this is a different name. So I press enter, and now you have here all the information that I have for zone, sales, tax, so the auditors can compare with the real payments that we did those years per zone, right? So very easy, very simple report, but I want you to see how this information, I'm going to paste this here, and now instead of the zones, I'm going to bring the stores. I'm going to remove zone, and I'm going to bring the stores. The stores start from 1 to 6, right? And the zones are 3 only. I can even provide that information per zone, and let's say here I'm gonna change zone, I'm gonna change year in there, and I can even bring the stores as column, as the columns right here. And here I can leave the grand total, and this is because I want to add new information to our source. So it's very important that you see how many stores we have in here, and remember that file with zone 2 didn't open during 2019. Right? Oh, let me just format this 2019 number, use 1,000 separators. Excellent. So remember that 2019, this store that we had in zone 2 didn't open. And also, there are some stores that are newer, and of course, they open in 2018, they open in 2019, and they won't have information in previous years. So I can see that my query is bringing the correct information, right? So now let's go and see what happens when we add new information and how all our reports are going to be updated in no time. So here, where it says sales, we have this file that is zone 2, and that's the one that has the store that didn't open in 2019, but you can see that we have only one tab that is store 4. I'm going to close that. I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to bring, I have a folder that says additional information, and I'm going to say zone 2 correct. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste on sales. I'm going to open sales. I'm going to paste. I'm going to open that file so you can see what the changes are in that file. So I have exactly the same first tab where we don't have 2019, but also we have 2 more tabs with the store 7, which has information for 2017 and 2020 and 2021, and store 8 that has information only for 2019 and 2021. And same thing, there is inconsistency on where these files or these titles of the files start. So same thing that we have with the other files, right? So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to go back to that file. And let's remove the zone 2 that we originally had, and I'm going to rename this zone 2 correct, and I'm going to leave it just as zone 2. I don't want that comes in all my reports, zone 2 correct, right? So I just want that comes as zone 2. So now I'm going to go to one of my reports, this that is book 3 that I haven't saved, by the way. But let me save it. We don't want to do the work again. So this is going to be solved live. And this is the one with the taxes. Yeah, tax. Okay. And this is Solve Live. And remember that we have only 6 stores here. And we have information in Zone 2. We are missing information in 2019. But now with the other files, I don't remember if the other files have 2019. But anyways, but the sales for the whole year, for the whole years will be increased because now I have 2 more stores, right? So let's see here in zone 2, my grand total for the years, I have 127,000 for the tax. That amount should increase, right? So I'm going to go to data, refresh all. And now you can see that in seconds, sorry. So the information for the sales on that zone has increased. And also now we have 2 more stores that have been added to our data. Same thing here. All the amounts, of course, now the totals are a little bit higher. So I need to expand my columns a little bit more. And now you see that I have 8 stores instead. So this is with my file for the taxes. What happens with my file for the operations? Let me save it as well. So I'm pressing F12 just to have it very quickly. And And I'm gonna say operations in here. Now you can see we still have some store 6, and now you see the sales are 6.4 million total. I have in zone 2, you can see the sales. If I select all of these, the accumulated sales for the whole years is 1.059 million. And also in here, the totals of these are gonna change, right? So I'm gonna go to data, refresh all, and now we have 1.9 million total in zone 2. We have 8 stores, and we have only one source of data that we need to be updated. And when this happens, especially when you work, in my case, I work in finance, so we receive a lot of requests for executive teams, for operations, for sales, for a lot of departments. And also, we need information for our own use, and also we have to provide information to auditors. Having all your reports linked to one source of data, it really makes a big difference, because when you are having reports working separately, where you have different processes that are coming from the same source, but you are processing them individually, then it's very hard to keep track which reports you updated with the new changes and which reports were with the old versions, right? By having your reports connected to one source of data, if you set a folder where you're gonna save all of those files and then grab the information from that folder, your life is gonna change dramatically, and I can tell you by experience. So that is what I wanted to share with you. I really hope you find some use on this information. And please let me know if you have questions, comments. I would really appreciate your feedback. Okay, I think I finished, Ilgar.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for your wonderful, awesome session. Really, I appreciate it. I learned a lot of things. Thank you really very much.
Thank you.
So actually, we have 15 minutes for Q&A session. If somebody has questions, you can unmute yourself and ask a question, or you can write in the chat box.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't see questions on the chat, but because we are live, I'm not sure. Oh, thank you, Solar. It has been a pleasure to be here. I'm enjoying this quite a bit. I was looking forward for a long time for this session, so I'm very happy. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Christian. Thank you for coaching me. I really appreciate that. So those tips I was missing, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Solar. Very appreciated.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Really,
Mariana, thank you so much. Momo, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, please let me know if you have a question. Thank you. I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce this correctly, so forgive me if I'm not pronouncing, but I want to thank you, Serksan Musajev.
I see.
Yeah,